Hello friends and welcome back. Today we are diving deep into Harrow County. You guys have been telling me to check this out in the comments pretty much since I started covering horror comics, and now that I finally read it, yeah, I totally get it. This thing has all of my favorite things wrapped up into one awesome graphic novel. You've got a rich folklore setting, some genuinely disturbing creatures, and this beautiful, haunting watercolor artwork. It all comes together to make one heck of a story. We're going to be covering the first two story arcs today, Countless Haints and Twice Told. They introduce us to this young farm girl, Emmy, whose life gets turned completely upside down as she approaches her 18th birthday. All these strange things start happening, and they all seem to connect back to a powerful witch who was executed on our family's land decades ago.
So the story wastes no time and throws us right into the fire, literally. We're in the mid-20th century South, and the people of Harrow County are executing a witch named Hester Beck. But get this, she is not dying easily. They've shot her, stabbed her, and hanged her. And when the priest tries to give her last rites, the rain literally washes the holy words right off the pages of his Bible. So as they finally set her on fire, her face melting away, she doesn't scream, oh no. Instead, she gives them a promise, a curse, really, that's going to hang over this town for a very, very long time.
Fast forward a few decades, that cursed tree is still standing, a scarred, ugly landmark on an otherwise quiet farm. And this is where we meet our main character, Emmy. She wakes up from this terrifyingly vivid nightmare about that exact tree. It's a dream she keeps having, one where the tree grows these jagged teeth and tries to rip itself right out of the ground, all while screaming one word at her, over and over, lies. She can feel this presence in her room. She can't see anything, but she knows it's there.
So yeah, Emmy's nightmares, they're not just random bad dreams. They're like a window into this dark past that is about to come crashing into her present. To really get what's happening to her, we've got to look back at why the townsfolk, the very same people who once came to Hester for help, turned on her so violently.
See, what's so fascinating about this is how a community's trust just slowly crumbled. Hester wasn't always a monster to them, she was their healer. But her cures, well, they came with a hidden price tag. Healthy animals would just suddenly get sick and die whenever she was around. People got real uneasy when she started holding these weird sermons for the local kids down at the creek. Then, the whispers started, that she was meeting with heinous things out in the woods, creatures she called her family. But the final straw, the thing that nobody could ignore, was when they found out how she was feeding those creatures and her own power, by snatching a baby right out of its crib in the middle of the night. So, back in the present day, Emmy is just feeling all of this dark history pressing in on her. She calls the unseen spirits from her nightmares Countless Haints. It's his feeling of being constantly surrounded, a quiet screaming she can almost hear right on the edge of sleep, and it's all coming from that old hollowed-out oak tree. And this right here is a perfect example of how the comic is just steeped in Southern American folklore. A haint is basically an evil spirit or ghost, and this belief was so common it actually led to the tradition of painting porch ceilings and doors haint blue. The whole idea was to trick these spirits into thinking they were looking at the sky or a body of water which they supposedly couldn't cross. It's such a cool cultural detail that really grounds all the supernatural horror of the story in a very real, tangible world. Pretty soon, the strangeness starts to bleed from Emmy's dreams into her waking life. She and her dad find a calf in the barn that was born horribly deformed. It's a really gruesome sight. As Emmy is comforting the poor little thing, stroking its head, the strange warmth just flows from her hands. Right in front of her father's shocked eyes, the calf's twisted legs straighten out, its breathing evens out, and it just stands up perfectly healthy. Later, her father, Isaac, has this hushed, worried conversation with a neighbor who warns him she's coming into her own, just like you always knew she would. That little miracle in the barn? Oh, that is just the beginning. It's the first in a series of strange and terrifying events that are going to force Emmy to confront the truth about who and what she really is. Her world truly starts to come apart at the seams when she follows a mysterious boy into the woods and finds something that, well, it just shouldn't exist. So she follows him deep into the woods and finds him inside this massive bramble patch. But it's not actually the boy. It's his skin, just hanging there like a discarded set of clothes. But it's breathing. It is alive. Now, the really interesting part here is her reaction. Faced with this grotesque, impossible thing, Emmy isn't horrified. She's curious. She carefully pulls the skin down, folds it up, and just puts it in her satchel. This calm acceptance of the monstrous is really the first major clue we get about her true nature. That night, the living skin, which she now calls the skinless boy,
starts muttering. Emmy quickly figures out it's not talking on its own. It's like a psychic receiver, and it's broadcasting a conversation that's happening right at that very moment. A conversation that's happening at the old oak tree, where a mob of townsfolk is gathered with rifles and torches.
And through that haint, she hears their words, and her entire world just shatters. They're talking about her. They're convinced she's Hester Beck reborn, come back to claim the county. And then she hears a voice she knows all too well, a voice that just breaks her heart. Her own father, agreeing with them. She hears him confirm their pact. The witch must die.
In a blind panic, she just bolts, fleeing into the dark woods. Her father chases her down, and when he catches her, his face is this horrible mask of tears and grim determination. He puts his hands around her throat and starts to squeeze. Just as her vision starts to fade, a pale, skinless figure, the boy's true body, leaps out of the shadows and brutally attacks her father, saving her life. The monster she just met has become a protector against the very man who raised her.
But instead of running, Emmy walks straight toward that armed mob. She tells them she isn't Hester, that she just wants to live a normal life. When a few of the men lunge at her, she doesn't fight back. She just raises her hands, and with this soft flash of light, the men crumble into piles of dirt, the very same earth that Hester once used to create their fathers. She clearly has the witch's power, but in that moment of mercy, she proves she doesn't have her vengeful heart. So just when you think an uneasy peace might settle over Harrow County, nope. A fancy car pulls up the long dirt road to the farm, a sight that is completely out of place. The sense of dread is immediate. And when the door opens, out steps a woman who is the spitting image of Emmy. It's her long-lost twin sister, Camellia, or Cammy for short.
This slide really lays out the core conflict, but it's even deeper than just their goals. Emmy is all about empathy. She feels this connection to the woods and the Haints and wants to protect them. Cammy, on the other hand, just sees tools. She sees Hester not as a curse to be overcome, but as a birthright to be claimed. She is thrilled by the idea of their dark power, calling Hester their true mother, and seeing the Haints as nothing more than an army waiting for a general.
And Cammy does not waste any time. She immediately starts to poison the well. She walks into town pretending to be Emmy, saying cruel things to ruin her sister's reputation. She finds some guy with a grudge and grants his dark wish, gruesomely transforming his rival into a new plant-infested monster. One by one, she secretly visits the darkest creatures of the woods, things that even Emmy is afraid of, and uses their shared connection to Hester to win them over, building her power base in the shadows. With Cammy's influence spreading like a sickness, you just know a confrontation between the two sisters is inevitable. And this isn't just some family feud anymore. It's become a battle for the very soul of Harrow County, with every single human and Haint caught right in the middle.
At the edge of the woods, Cammy finally shows her hand. She emerges from the trees, flanked by this army of monsters, ghouls, and dark spirits. She gives Emmy an ultimatum. Accept their shared destiny and rule Harrow County together as witches, or be swept aside and destroyed. And heartbroken, Emmy refuses. But Emmy isn't as alone as Cammy thinks she is. As that army of monsters closes in, her own loyal Haints rise up to defend her. The skinless boy is right there by her side. Flaming skeletons claw their way out of the graveyard. Priscilla, a terrifying but gentle creature from the granary, comes out to protect her. Even the great beast, this massive, almost godlike entity from the deep woods, answers her call. A full-blown supernatural war just erupts.
The final, desperate confrontation all goes down at the farmhouse. Cammy, absolutely furious, accuses Emmy of denying their true mother, Hester. And Emmy, just pushed to her absolute limit, grieving the sister she could have had, just screams out in anguish. If you want her so bad, you can have her. Her words are like a key. The ground beneath them starts to tremble, and the smoldering corpse of Hester Beck drags itself out of the earth, wraps its charred arms around a terrified Cammy, and pulls her down into the grave.
So, in the quiet aftermath, with the immediate threat gone, Emmy and her dad slowly begin to rebuild their fractured relationship and their home. An uneasy peace settles over Harrow County, but the battle, it changed things. It proved that the shadows have teeth, and the knowledge of that dark power that's lying just beneath the soil and inside Emmy herself now just lingers over everything. And that really leaves us with the central question of the whole series. Emmy has chosen a path of kindness, but can she truly escape her nature? Is she defined by the witch's blood running through her veins, or by the choices she makes? The ghosts of Harrow County are quiet for now, but they're always there, a chilling reminder of a past that is never truly dead, just dreaming of a time when it might live again.